Welcome to the channel, everyone. I hope you all are doing well today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Everybody, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and turn all post notifications on. And to all my new supporters joining us for the first time, welcome to the family. And thank you so much for choosing me to watch today. Now, let's jump right into this video, man. Now, as an American, the differences between the United States of America and Britain really fascinate me. But what I haven't thought to consider was the differences between the animals you will find over here in the United States versus the animals you would find in the UK. So let's go ahead and jump right into this video. I had never seen these animals before moving to the UK.
To give context, I was born and raised in Florida. I lived briefly in Pennsylvania, but I was at university, so I wasn't doing much like wildlife spotting. So Florida is really where I spent most of my time in the US. Now this is important because America does have badgers. It has the American badger, which looks like this. And it's different to a European badger, which looks like this. I had never seen either type of badger, but I had obviously never seen a European badger, considering I was in America, but I had never seen an American badger either. You can find those more on the West Coast, in the more middle states, not so much in Florida. So that's the reason for that.
Well, wait, why does the badger from the US look like he wants to just bite your face off? Why?
Middle states, not so much in Florida, so that's the reason for that. But again, even if I had seen an American badger, I wouldn't have seen a European badger. A European badger is the one that you can find in the UK, and it's actually bigger than the American badger. And I have seen them in the wild in the UK. Obviously, I have seen them a couple times at like zoos or like wildlife sanctuaries here. Unfortunately, I do see them on the side of the road. No longer living, which is very sad. But I have seen them like in the wild, as it were. Even though they are nocturnal animals, I lived somewhere once that was nearish to the countryside. Again, you can still be close to the countryside and live near London. And so I lived in a place once that had a deck in the back, and it had like a space that you could crawl underneath. I've never tried it. I couldn't crawl underneath. A small animal could. So at night, I used to hear like this noise and stuff had been moved, and I was like, is this the start of a true crime story or something else going on? So we put a nighttime camera out there just to see what was happening, and it was a badger who was basically causing chaos in the backyard and going under the deck, and we think that it was injured and needed space away from its set and away from other badgers, because apparently that's what they do. As far as I know, he's not still under there. He went back to where he lived, and hopefully he's living a happy, healthy life. I don't know, but that is an experience I had never had in the US, and I've only ever seen a badger in the UK.
It's scary,
Next on
man.
my list
It truly
is a hedgehog. There are no living species of hedgehogs native to North America. Someone on the internet commented, I'm from Canada, and the first time I saw a wild hedgehog in Europe, I freaked out. I don't know why they freaked out. Did they freak out because it was so cute? I'm not sure. But again, I do share the sentiment that I definitely had never seen a hedgehog in America because they're not wild there. They're not. You can't just see them roaming around like you can here. Again, also, I see them a lot of times on the side of the road, which is also really sad. But America did have a fad in the 80s of owning hedgehogs as pets. So Americans may have seen a hedgehog. I had never seen one, but Americans may have. They might have owned them as a pet. But today, this has kind of died out a lot, and it's illegal in some states to own a hedgehog as a pet. For today's kids growing up, actually, some British television shows for kids that get shown in America change the characters that are hedgehogs into porcupines, which look like this. And in America, we're much more familiar with them than we are hedgehogs.
You know, I was going to say that when I first seen the hedgehog. It kind of looks like, it kind of resembles a porcupine. Yeah. Pets? I don't really want that as a pet. That's kind of weird. I'm sorry if you're watching this video and you have a hedgehog as a pet. There's just better options, you know? I would prefer a snake at that point. I don't even like snakes, but I would prefer you to have a snake than a hedgehog. I mean, that just sounds more normal. You know, like even a pet tarantula sounds more normal. How many people got pet tarantulas? I mean, I don't. I know some people that do though. I'll be like, I'm not coming in your house.
which look like this. And in America, we're much more familiar with them than we are hedgehogs.
He just looks
sharp.
And
I think this would surprise a lot of people because hedgehogs are so common in the UK. Again, in addition to seeing them on the side of the road, unfortunately no longer alive, I have seen them like in the wild, as it were. I can't tell you the specific instances, but hedgehogs are they just love life here in the UK. They're just wandering around. So they're so common in the UK, but like I said, they're not in the wild in America, and America is a pretty big place, so it's pretty interesting that they are no longer there. The next thing I put on my list that I hadn't seen was a fox in the wild. So,
no, I've seen a fox in the wild coming off the highway. It was a couple foxes, as a matter of fact, but there was just one that was looking at me like, me and him was like this. I turned my head and we was just looking at each other for a few seconds. The deers, too, they be acting like they don't got no common sense. And we be staring at each other. I'm like, you gonna move?
That I hadn't seen was a fox in the wild. So, again, let's talk about how this relates to my Florida experience. America does have foxes. And Florida has foxes as well. We have the gray fox, which is typically found in the northern part of the state. I'm from the central part of the state. But this fox is mostly found in really, really dense and wooded areas. So Americans have seen foxes. I'm not saying that we haven't. I'm not saying we don't have them. But I had never seen a fox outside of a zoo setting. And there would have been less of a reason for me to be able to see the gray fox in Florida because it does tend to go in the dense wooded areas. When I moved to the UK and to London, I was very surprised that there were urban foxes who were just wandering around the streets.
Yup, that's what they look like. That's exactly what they look like. A little orange. They look too beautiful, honestly. They look like little cute animals, man, that you could keep as a pet. Can I take it home? No. Years back, me and my mom seen, I think it was about a dozen foxes feasting on a deer. Yeah. It's out in the open. Cars, the traffic was backed up because people, I don't know how people are over there in the UK when they see things that they don't see on the normal. They were being so nosy, the traffic was backed up on the main road because they seen a bunch of foxes feasting on a deer. I'm like, come on people, let's chop. This can't be your first time seeing foxes, but yet again, maybe it was, because it definitely was my first time. But I've seen a few foxes coming off the highway now, a few months back. I don't want to see them again. They was looking at me like they was ready to feast on me.
Very surprised that there were urban foxes who were just wandering around the streets at night.
They look beautiful.
And they are actually the red fox here in the UK, and they're really attracted to the food and scraps that people leave behind in bins. And they're actually described as a successful urban resident, the red fox. So just coming home and seeing foxes in a built-up area was very unfamiliar to me. Now it's very familiar to me, and I think they are cute. I know that, I don't know, are they nuisances? I feel like some people think so. They can scream loud at night. But again, my personal experience in America and where I lived in the suburbs and built up areas, the foxes didn't hang around there. Next on my list of animals I hadn't seen before moving to the UK is the red kite, which is a type of bird. It's a really cool type of bird with a very majestic way of flying.
Red kite, huh? Well, there's nothing red about it. No, this actually looks kind of majestic. It looks like the wings are almost like hollow, but yet again, maybe it's just like, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe it's just how the wings are, because right here you can see green and black. Like, you can see shades of the bushes and trees in the background through their wings, but not the tips of them. That's fascinating. So it almost allows them to look like different colors, maybe, depending what they're flying past, if I do have the right idea, but I could be wrong. I don't know anything about animals. I'm learning, man, but this looks nice. It's a nice bird.
Cool type of bird with a very majestic way of flying, and they're not found in America. They're only currently breeding in Europe. And the population of red kites in the UK has changed a lot over the years. Nowadays, they are reintroducing them to some areas, and the area where I have seen them the most is the Chilterns. So I talked about the Chilterns in another video as a place to go and visit in the UK, but they reintroduced kites to this area, and now in a lot of places in the Chilterns, which again you can access very easily from London, which is why I've been there a lot, there are red kites flying all over the place. I think they're so beautiful. I love them. I love seeing them. And it's a type of bird that I had never seen, obviously, living in the US because they are not there. The next thing I put on my list is deer. However, I don't mean that I had never seen a deer in my whole life. I just wrote down I had never seen so...
It's to the point where I got beef with them now, man. Like, I don't care. I don't eat deers, but maybe I'm about to feast on one. Put him on a dinner table, lay him out. I had enough with these deers out here, man. We have a hate relationship, a pure hate relationship. I can't even say love and hate, man, because there's nothing loving about them, especially when on nighttime, during the night when I'm driving, you can't escape them. They will jump out of anywhere, even on a highway. I was driving home one night and seeing a deer like jump across, like he leaped across the whole street, both sides. He didn't walk, he leaped across it, and it was so dark and foggy, and I'm like, what was that? Like, it almost felt like a fairy tale. I was like, what was that? As I got closer, I just see nothing but deers staring at me, and I had to like slow down. I was like, whoa, one deer right here, the other one right here, the other one down the road in the street staring at me, waiting to get hit by a car. Move out the way. Another one laying right there by somebody's mailbox. I'm like, these people live in like a deer's world. I'm like, this is crazy. You gotta move. But I guess it's fair because they've been chopping a lot of trees down. Like, we've been getting rid of all our forest over here. Well, at least in the area where I'm living. And the deers have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to go. And it's sad. If they honestly wanted to migrate somewhere else, they would have to like run along with the highway, because that's the only way they're gonna get there. We've literally been chopping down all the trees and putting like 3-4 story townhomes, apartment centers, the senior citizen complexes. Like, it's just a lot going on, and a lot of stores opening up too, and these deers ain't got nowhere to stay. So
I just wrote down I had never seen so many deer. So deer are common in America as well. But again, it depends on the place that you are. So in Florida, it's not common, except if you're like in the Florida Keys, which have key deer, which are really cute. But I didn't live in the Florida Keys. So where I'm from, seeing a deer just kind of on the side of the road is really not common.
Wait, deers? I don't know if deers is a word. Can somebody educate me real quick in the comments, please? Look, chill. Deers? I don't think deers is actually a word. I think it's just deer. I should refer to it as deer. That's my mistake.
Deer just kind of on the side of the road.
We learned that in elementary school.
It's really not common. It would feel really out of place, so I had seen them. But here in the UK, I feel like the second you get out of central London and you're driving on any sort of like suburban or countryside lane, it's so common to just see groups of deer. What's a group of deer called? Someone comment.
Yeah.
Multiple deer or even one deer
deers.
just doing its thing, just eating, just like living its life. So many of them all the time. And on the
a herd? A herd of deer? I don't know if that's right.
Eating, just like living its life. So many of them all the time. And on the train coming back and forth from London to various places, to various day trips, you can just look out into the fields and see deer. There are so many deer in the UK, much more than in Florida. So if you go to Florida on holiday, there are some animals that you will see, but you probably won't see a deer like I would expect somebody traveling around in the UK to see. The next on my list is the seal. America does have seals, but Florida does not. Florida does not have seal colonies. And so growing up in Florida, as much time as I spent at the water and at the beach and around the state, I had never, ever seen a seal before I moved to the UK. I did mention in my other video that I saw wild seals in Cornwall, which was really cute because he was just bobbing up and down. But I also have seen wild seals near, is it Pegwell Bay in Kent? Somebody comment because I know that you'll know. I went on a seal watching tour years ago, and I'm pretty sure it was to a place called Pegwell Bay, but that's just coming to me now without researching. It was definitely near Dover. And we took a boat and we basically visited a wild seal colony and we just watched them. And it was a really cool experience for me. Like I said, never had seen a seal before living in Florida. Now I have a final animal.
I didn't even know that there was a designated place to go and see seals. I thought you had to like go to the aquarium or the zoo to see them.
Never had seen a seal before living in Florida.
Everybody, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. What are some crazy, bizarre animals that you have seen in the wild and was like, whoa, that's not supposed to be over here? And how was your reaction towards it? How was your reaction? Were you taking pictures? Were you more so freaked out and just creeped out? Like, why is there animals over here? Or were you more so impressed and felt the need to actually get closer to the wild animal, hoping to touch it or something? But no. Let's hope you didn't. If you guys enjoyed this part 1 of this fabulous video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and turn all post notifications on, especially if you are looking forward towards the part 2. Feel free to share this video and channel to your friends and family members, whoever you feel may be interested in joining us on a daily basis to check out some of these fascinating videos. Feel free to flood my comment section and suggestion link in the description down below if you would like to recommend some more of these bizarre, incredible videos for me to check out. Once again, I hope you all stay safe. Please don't forget to share your personal experiences with these wild animals you have seen in public, and I will catch you all in the next reaction video.